Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another car video. The Reed approach. The Reed approach. And this is something, you know what, there's always an argument about choosing signals versus code approach. Now, I actually did a video where I said, whatever works for you, you got to switch it up. And of course, some people are strictly code approach, some people are strictly choosing signals. And I say it for myself, well, actually, I get approached more. But see, I ain't out there trying to go hard or anything. I'm quality over quantity any damn way. But I did say too, yeah, I get some women, throwing those soft, be asking about the avocados or something. But then I also say if I see a real fine woman, and the word damn come out my mouth, oh, I approach. I don't care. I'm like, shoot, I don't hesitate. She got that big old round bud dunk, you know. And even though I always say breasted sisters, I ain't that really a big breasted sis, man. As long as they got enough so I know they're female. But whatever the case, if a woman look attractive to me, I don't have a problem. But one of the things I do when I do bother to approach or initiate the conversation, because even with the code approach choosing signals thing, you got to approach regardless. You got to approach unless you just in that small percentage you're going to regularly get approached. And like I said, I'll get approached, but I ain't trying to like holler at a lot. I'm kind of picky at this point in life. Older, you know. Plus, I look as a 56-year-old man trying to holler at everybody. So what I'm saying though is for people who are still want to approach and everything, because look, here's the thing: what's the read approach? Read is not even so much a code approach. Like even if she ain't giving any signals or anything, you just reading that woman and knowing what to do to open her up. You reading the situation. Indeed, say you go to some public place, right? Some event, party, club, wherever. You got to be in hunt mode. You ain't gonna just randomly approach any woman. Yeah, you're gonna get rejected. But if you're smart, and this is a lot of street players do this, even some pimps, they reading the women. They reading them. You gotta read them and say, okay, what is it about them I can open up with, or is she showing some receptivity? And it's not something I could explain in a video. Now I've done on my off YouTube sites, like on my ConnectPal site, I've done like several webinars on reading women, and even had cousin T-Tar present a webinar on reading women, because that's a big thing in the exotic male dancing thing. They reading their for lack of a better term, targets. Their piggy banks, the women who are going to give them the money. And indeed, even with female exotic dancers, they definitely reading the men. Indeed, women read men more than men read women. But let's stick with the read approach as far as women, as far as approaching women, making that approach. If you smart, you doing that read before you even make a move. Because once you do that read, and it's not a cold read. In fact, it becomes warm, because the better you read it, then it's like, oh, okay, this is what I need to do to open it up. I give y'all three examples. Now, one. Wait a minute. If all right, I'll give you one. First one is if I'm out and about and I see specifically a black woman with natural hair, I'll just walk up to her and say, hey, I like your hair. One, that's a political thing, because personally, I like natural hair on black women. My co-parent has natural hair, never wore a weave in her life. But I just like natural hair. Yeah, I know there's an argument with women, but I just personally like natural hair. So whenever I see a woman, I always be like, hey, how you doing? Like your hair. It already opens her up. It always makes her receptive, because if you approach a black woman, compliment her hair, her natural hair, shoot, even the hair that might not be so natural, she appreciates it. And that's in general, though. compliment a woman's hair just in general, especially if you know they just fixed it up, regardless of race. But that's one. But you're reading it. Also, well, I'll get into that later. There's something else with the hair. But then there's some situations I might see a woman, she look like she work out in the gym. So it's like, oh, okay, she look like she work out. You walk up, it's like, hey, where you work out at? Great shape. Look like you really put in some work. You know? She'll be like, oh yeah, I work out here. Or she don't work out. You still got the conversation open because women are vain. So, okay, that's two right there. And then another one, there's a young lady I met a few months ago. We follow each other on IG. Now, I met her. Now, she had one of those crystals on, you know, one of those new agey type of things. So I said, oh, that's a nice crystal and everything. And then we were talking. She ended up giving me a crystal. She went in her pouch and gave me a crystal. But what did I do in all those situations? I just be reading the women. And it's not that cut and dry, because one of the things is, if you're reading a woman, the more that you know about different social classes, religious symbols, everything. Like I remember there was a woman started a conversation with, but the read I had on her was that she practiced an African traditional religion, the Khan. And I ain't gonna get too deep into it, but anybody who know about it, they know about the Khan. And at least the people in the United States who practice it, that's technically an ethnic group. But yeah, that's another conversation. But I knew from some marks on her, I say, oh, okay, you're a Khan. And she was like, yeah, boom. See, if you learn how to read them, it's not codes. You're looking at them from a distance, so you're like, oh, okay. Like you looking, like I said, mentioned the hair. You can tell a lot about a woman's social class from her hair, how she wear her hair and everything. That tells you a whole lot. So automatically it's like, oh, okay, I know what I can do. I know what kind of approach I can make. Then you're looking at her clothes. What type of clothes she wearing? Does she have tattoos or not tattoos? And I'm going to say, for the most part, if you get really good at it, you can probably read a woman up to 90%. Even her body type. Now, people on my Vimeo, I have something where I talk about women's sexual personality types, and I get into like a general body type they'll have. And I do mean the word general, but that gets into some holistic stuff, some deeper stuff. Because if you learn how to read a woman, like, okay, starting from her body, clothes she wearing, how she move, facial expressions, what her social class might be, what type of jewelry she's wearing, what type of tats, if she's wearing tats, if she's wearing any type of spiritual symbols, that gives you a story right there. And all you have to do is ask her the story. Or you could approach if you have enough similarities with that story, like, or, you know, or she could be wearing a t-shirt with some slogan on it. It could be a political slogan, whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, you support saving the whales. Oh, man, that's real cute. Or veganism, where you walk up, say, hey, you know what, I'm interested in veganism. I see you got this nice shirt on talking about veganism. Hey, you know, I have an interest in it. You know, even if you don't really have an interest, you got an opening. You know, it helps if you do, and for that in particular, it helps if you have some interest. But my point is, and that's just an example, you know, you reading a woman and you say, okay, this is my approach. Like, even if you get really adept at it, you can really tell different social classes. Like if you tell this woman is upper middle class, you know you can't be going like on that street thing and stuff. I actually got a video coming next week that kind of touches on that. You know, you can't be speaking. I couldn't give them car Rom. I had to give them Professor Rom. But then if I see that woman, you know, working class, you know, got a bit of ratchet, well, I can show Rom's ratchet side. You know? So you actually know why to switch up. Now, I know some people will say, hey, Rom, can you do a video on it? Well, I've actually done some stuff. You gotta go through my Rom TV and my Vimeo videos and stuff and see what you can see. Like I've done some series on it and stuff. And that's still just tip of the iceberg, because really the only way to really learn it, because you can't, you know, even a coaching session is just going to give you some basics. It could even be an all day thing, and it's still you getting some basics. The best way really is to go out there, like every single time you encounter a woman, just take notes, good or bad. Like she reject you, okay, what was it about her? What was she doing? Where were we at? Everything, what kind of hair she was wearing, you know. In fact, on my Rom TV, I got a new series called Finding Your Tribe. I'm gonna put a link for that. I'll put a link for that, and that gets into not so much reading of women, but finding the type of women who are going to be more likely be receptive to you, you know, in particular. And then y'all can check out the rest of the stuff, and then check out some stuff, the sexual personality types of women. I'll put a link for that too. But the thing is, and those are just, like I said, those are beginning. The best thing you got to do is get out there. So I'm going to tell you what. You get many men who can't figure out women, but you got to interact with them. That's the only way. That's the only way you can learn, because, you know, I could tell you a bunch of stuff. I can give you some general stuff, but then you got to figure out, okay, how will this woman, this type of woman, interact with me in particular, you know? And then you got to figure out, okay, what can I do to adjust, you know? Or what type of women kind of will feel my type of personality. Like this past Saturday, I was at a comic book con with my sons right near me, local in Harford County and stuff. And I was checking, you know, I was just looking at the women and stuff, and it was like, you know what? They would be open for a guy who's like, oh, yeah, I like that cosplay you got on. Or, man, that's my favorite character. Wow, you look great in that. You reading them. They're already showing the nerdy side, you know? And that's the thing. But if you approach, the bottom line is this. You got to develop it so even if it's totally cold, the woman ain't giving you any signals. She ain't even see you. But you looking at it and you reading and say, okay, what kind of clothes she got on? How is she moving? Is she moving in a receptive manner? Like if a woman like walking down the street, she going full tilt. She might be on her way to something. It might not be a good hit. But if she kind of like meandering and everything, you know, she might be open to it. She might be receptive. You can just shoot your jumper, you know. But and then what kind of clothes she wearing? What social class does she look like she in? She wearing any religious symbols? You know, she got a nice cross on, cross or crescent and moon crescent thing, star and crescent, a gi and yami, something. You know, what kind of tats if she have any tats. You know, it tells you a whole lot. Shoot, sometimes for some people who want to be a little bit lower, she out there just smoking a cigarette. Man, I'm not a cigarette smoker, but you might walk up, say, hey, you look nice. Can I borrow a cigarette? She might be like, hey, here you go, pump. You know, if that's what you want to roll. Because one thing overall, when you're talking, the key thing is making some type of connection, something to talk about, you know, and then open it up from there and see where it goes. And then that's why you're just doing the read, man. That's how you're just doing the read, you know. And like I said, even for what I got, you know, that can start you off. I don't care how deep I go, but ultimately you got to get out there. That's what I always say. Get out there. All right. So anyway, y'all, gotta go ahead and get some stuff. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.